Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at the 4-issue miniseries Raccoon from 1985, published by Marvel Comics. This was written by Bill Mantlo and, more importantly, penciled by Mike Mignola. This is a very young Mike Mignola, and this is probably one of the first comics he did that really stood out. It's not the style that he became famous for. In fact, I think you could read this comic, and if you didn't know, you wouldn't even think it was Mike Mignola. It's a different kind of style, but it's really good. And it's very odd comic for Marvel Comics at the time. It's basically a funny animal comic. Even though they're not funny animals, they're actually just realistically drawn animals who can talk and think and, act like humans. But it's really fun. And this came out, I guess I was in my senior year of high school. And it's kind of a kid comic, but I really liked it. And I still do. I read it last night again, and it was fun reading. Even though I gotta say, it's got some of the worst writing ever. It's terrible. And I'll point out some of the more egregious examples. But it's still fun as hell. Really great concepts. And like I said, really great art. Really nice first cover. All the covers are by Mike Mignola and inker Al Gordon. Just some really fun stuff here. So we start off in the Keystone Quadrant. It's a sector of outer space. And there's this planet called Half-World, and orbiting around it is the Space Wheel, which is owned by Lord Divine. We see the chief toy maker of Space Wheel. That's basically it's a big toy factory. There's lots of money to be had in toys in the Keystone Quadrant, and we'll find out why soon. And we see this shadowy, sinister figure in the background. Turns out it's a killer clown who works for Judson Jake, who's the rival toy maker. And he's basically invented these little robotic clowns, kind of a toy, but a deadly toy. And the clown shoots the toy maker dead. I should mention this, it's lettered by Ken Brzezinek. And so he does some interesting sound effects here as the toy maker slouches to the floor, plop, a little homage to the DC comic. That's just like the logo. So right off the bat, there's some annoying stuff about this writing. The clown talks in rhyme. It's kind of annoying. And it's not like cool rhymes like the Demonetrican does when Alan Moore writes them. They're really dumb rhymes. So Divine's simian sentries attack him. And their battle cry is Chim Chim Chiree. I love the way these guys are decked out. They look like samurai apes. And this killer clown kicks all their asses and escapes. Isn't this art great? I love this is Mike Mignola art. Oh, I didn't mention that it's inked by Al Gordon, who does all the covers too. Al Gordon inks every issue except number 3, which is inked by Al Milgrom. So Lord Divine calls out his mercenary brigade, Blackjack O'Hare and the Black Bunny Brigade. They're mercenaries who work for Divine. And they make short work of the clown. As he's dying, he rhymes as well. So Divine realizes that Judson Jake is trying to make a hostile takeover. So he says, I'm going to sick the law on him. I'm going to call in Rocket Raccoon. And here we meet Rocket Raccoon and his gal pal, Lila, and their friend, Wall Russ. Everyone just calls him Wall. And basically Half-World is just like it sounds. It's a planet split down the middle. One half is this kind of idyllic nature, natural preserve. And the other half is just completely mechanized. It's where the robots live. So Raccoon is reading the Half-World Bible. It's basically the most revered tome to the humans on this planet, who are all crazy. They're called loonies. And basically Rocket and all the other animal creatures, sentient animal creatures on this planet, it's their job to look after the loonies because they're basically like children. And the Keystone Cops show up. They're a bunch of loonies, and they tell Rocket Raccoon that the toy smith of Lord Divine has been assassinated. So Rocket Raccoon goes to this building that's known as the admissions ward, which is like the church of the loonies. And they have all these weird rituals. I like this, how one of their rituals is to tighten the straps of the straitjacket of the person in front of you with your teeth. But then the last guy's got no one to tighten his straps, so he's like, no, I'm condemned to be uncommitted. Of course, Rocket Raccoon just shakes his head. He's like, I don't understand these kooks. So Lord Divine talks to Rocket Raccoon on the telescreen and tells him what's going on. So Rocket and Wall take off in Rocket's starship, the Rack and Ruin. And we find out a little bit more about the planet and the robots on their side of the planet. They kind of stick to themselves. But they're all they know about the robots is that they're building this giant humanoid-shaped rocket ship, starship. We also find out that there's this Galatian wall around the Keystone Quadrant, which means no one can leave. No one can enter or leave. Except somehow the Incredible Hulk did a few months back. And there's a little note. I guess Rocket Raccoon guest starred. So right on the equator of this half-world, in between the two realms, is Mayhem Mechanics. That's the toy factory that Judson Jakes owns. So Rocket Raccoon is heading there. There's such a great panel there. I love that. I love this little soldier rat here. Amazing stuff. So meanwhile, Divine is plotting. So I guess Judson Jakes of Mayhem Mechanics is like the legal guardian of Lila. At some point, I don't know when, she seems like she's an adult, she's going to inherit Mayhem Mechanics. Her parents started it, and they died. Some people the rumor is that maybe Judson Jakes has something to do with that. But, so Divine wants to marry her. Yeah. Then he'll be able to take over the Mayhem Mechanics. And so he sends Blackjack O'Hare. Shades of Bucky O'Hare there. Very Bucky-like. And he sends Blackjack to go fetch Lila, to kidnap her. Meanwhile, on the near that church-like building, the admissions ward, we see Uncle Pico. He's the chief toy maker for Judson Jakes. For this guy. He's sneaking around. And he steals the Half-World Bible. He replaces it with a similar-looking book. When the loonies come in to check on it, this Jack-in-the-Box comes out, and they're like, the book's been stolen. And then soon after that, Lila is abducted. This is such a weird thing about this comic, though, is their view of insanity. Insanity is not pretty. It's horrible. It's not... Most insane people aren't like, woohoo, I'm kooky. I mean, they're miserable, depressed people. All these lunatics are basically just carefree, happy, like children. And they're just always dressing up silly and laughing and giggling. So it's just like a very odd view of insanity. So I forgot to mention, I said I was going to mention it earlier, the reason why toys are so important in the Keystone Quadrant is that all of these loonies, I guess, because they're like children, they need toys to keep them happy and well-adjusted. They don't want them, I guess, spiraling into despair. Let me adjust this for a second, guys. The camera, there we go. And so that's why, Jakes and Divine they have such a fierce rivalry, because there's a lot of money involved. So as Raccoon is approaching Jetson Jake's factory, this giant nutcracker grabs the ship. Raccoon leaps out of the ship with his rocket skates. And he sees Jetson Jake's here. He's this mole-looking guy. And all his killer clowns and some heavily armored animals. This is great. I just love all the designs of these characters. And so this melee ensues. I guess Wall, he's just got flippers, because he's not a funny animal. He's not like Goofy or something. Because Goofy doesn't look like a dog, right? He's just goofy. But these are all real animals. But he's got this little fanny pack with like a little robot arm that can do things for him. And so he can exchange his tusks. He's got various tusks. And he's got like a laser tusk. And here we see him take out one of the killer clowns. It's a pretty fun fight scene. And then Lord Pico, the toy maker, who works for Jetson Jakes, he says, "Stop, enough of this shit." And he says, "Listen, I know I work for you, but this is just stupid." And then Divine cuts in on the vid screens and says, "Look, I've got Lila. And I'm going to marry her and take over the Jetson Jake factory." Lila says, "Save me." I know this sounds weird, guys, but last night when I was reading this, Lila is so cute. I'm not into bestiality or anything, but the way Mike Mignola draws her, you can totally understand why Rocket loves her. She's an otter. He doesn't do anything weird to her. That's an otter face, but he just tweaks a little, and she really looks cute. And now I'm embarrassed that I admitted this to you all, but I can't help it. She's very cute. And of course, Rocket's furious. He says, "That really makes my fur fly." And then that's the end of the issue. This is kind of nice. We have a little page talking about all the creators, the contributors, and Bill Sienkiewicz contributes a little sketch of them. Not a very good Bill Sienkiewicz sketch, but that's something. It's interesting. Okay, here we have number 2. I really love this cover. Just the swoop of this creature. This is called a Dracula, by the way. Some of the things in this comic actually made me chuckle. There's like, it's like throw something up against the wall, something's going to stick. And Bill Mantlo, puts tons of corny jokes in here. But every now and then, some of the puns or funny names kind of made me chuckle. But yeah, I just love the white background. It's a really well-designed cover. So I guess it's, to the loonies, it's almost like a religious ceremony, but they have this masquerade, a ball, once a year. It's like a religious holiday. This title is The Mask of the Red Breath, by the way. Look at that great lettering with the little skulls there. And so Rocket's trying to figure out where Blackjack is, and Lila, more importantly. So like I said about Bill Mantlo's writing, it could be a lot of it. The fact that Jim Shooter was editor-in-chief, he was infamous for making every writer, realize that this could be someone's first comic. So every issue, you got to totally have all this exposition and reiterate and repeat what happened in the last issue. And a lot of writers, instead of just having a nice block of text at the beginning, what happened last month, they would do it through dialogue, which usually led to really stilted, unrealistic dialogue. People like literally talking about things that everyone just saw 2 pages ago. It's like in the real world, you'd be like, why are you saying this? We were there. There's no reason for you to say this. So just weird shit like that. So that could be Jim Shooter's edict. Then again, Bill Mantlo was very like Marvel guy, Marvel booster. So he could have done it just on his own. But there's so much of that in here. Almost every page has someone thinking, or even worse, someone talking about something we just saw. Like, I guess they just thought kids were too dumb to keep up. So all of a sudden, the masquerade ball is interrupted by the Dracula and the killer clown. The Dracula works for Divine. And like I said before, the killer clowns work for Jake's. So they're teaming up. These two business rivals are like, Rocket Raccoon's the real threat. Let's take him out. Meanwhile, we see this float in the parade, and that's where Blackjack is hiding with Lila and his mercenary bunnies. So he calls up Divine and says, there's been a change of plans. I think I'm going to marry Lila, and I'll inherit the whole fortune. Screw you, Divine. Look how cute she looks there. And so basically Divine's kind of fucked because Blackjack was his muscle. And now Blackjack's turning against him. But Divine does have one ace up his sleeve, the Red Breath. And it's kind of like the Mask of the Red Death. It's this mist that just dissolves everything it touches. And he sends it forth. Meanwhile, back at the masquerade ball, we get this fun fight. The killer clown is juggling bombs and throwing them at Rocket Raccoon. When he's not avoiding bombs, when he is avoiding bombs, and then he's also got to fight this Dracula. It's so dumb, but it makes me laugh. But Rocket Raccoon maneuvers. The clown throws a bomb at him, and at the last second he ducks out of the way, and the Dracula swallows it and explodes. I really love that panel. I don't know why. It's very simple, but it's great. Then he takes out the killer clown, and as he dies, he says, "You made me tilt, thus I am killed." Oh, it's so dumb, but I kind of chuckled at that one. And then Wall shows up in the Rack and Ruin, and he says, hey, I figured it out. Blackjack's in that float. They're heading to the asylum. That's the building where the masquerade ball is. So they head over there. Meanwhile, we see the Red Breath heading towards the asylum as well. Then we cut away, and we see Lord Pico studying the Half-World Bible. And he's starting to decipher it. But of course, he's not going to share that knowledge with Jakes. We see some little hints from the past here. And so basically Jakes is saying, like, you're my chief toy maker. I need weapons. And Pico kind of has this, he says, just to get you out of my hair so I can continue to translate this Bible. Here, take these vacuum sleds. I made these a while back. You can use them. So back at the ball, Lila, her whatchamacallit, shit. Her gag falls out, and she screams Rocket's name. So Rocket skates in there, looking for Lila. And then right then, the red breath comes in, and it dissolves some of the loonies. It basically erases them as if they never existed. Rocket's trying to fight it. He's shooting lasers at this thing, but, you know, that's not going to affect it. It's just a mist. The mist sends up a little tendril, the breath, and it dissolves one of Rocket's rocket skates. And he goes into a tailspin, loses control. Meanwhile, Wall is fighting the mercenaries of Blackjack. And he frees Lila. And they make a deal with Blackjack. They're like, look, your boss is after you now. So you're in the same boat as Rocket. Maybe we should join forces for a little while. And he agrees. They don't trust each other, but I guess they both have a common enemy. So the killer clowns show up on those vacuum sleds. It's a great design. It's very silly. And they start sucking up the bunny mercenaries. And Blackjack remains free, though. And so they run away. They find Rocket being cornered by the red breath. He's doomed, it looks like. But Blackjack and Rocket make a deal. He's like, I'll help you with the red breath if you help me with these killer clowns who are chasing me. And so they kind of team up, and the killer clowns fly right into the red breath. And it erases them. But it also pulls apart the red breath and makes it disappear. This is another example of just shitty writing. I guess like the idea that some humans were killed by this red breath. It's like, we can't have that. So they kind of retcon it, make the stupid solution. With the erasure of the clowns in the cloud, everything else consumed by the red breath rematerializes. So all the loonies come back to life. But why wouldn't the clowns come back to life? They were consumed by the red breath. It's really dumb, clunky writing. I really love the design of Blackjack O'Hare. He looks pretty fucking cool. I think he deserves a miniseries. So at the end of this issue, they're heading out to kick some ass. Another fun cover. I just like seeing all these animals. It's like Lancelot Link, but not just chimps. Oh, look at this logo. See, there you can see Mike Mignola. This could be like a Hellboy chapter heading, you know. So now Rocket Raccoon and all of his buddies are in the wreck and ruin trying to escape. We got the simian sentries dropping banana bombs on them. We got the prank tanks of the killer clowns firing at them. Totally caught in a crossfire. It looks like their goose is cooked. By the way, this is the issue inked by Al Milgrom. To be honest, I can't tell the difference. I kind of shit on Al Milgrom a lot in this YouTube channel a few times. But I guess inking, yeah, he's a good inker. But man, his pencils, crap. So basically, Rocket knows that they're done for. So he's, I guess, Blackjack has all of this knowledge of Half-World that they don't. And he's like, listen, guys, listen to me. Head towards this crater here. We'll ditch the ship. They'll think they blew us up, and we'll jump in. I know about this crater. It looks like the ship's done for anyway, so. And so they do just that. The ship explodes, but they jump out in time and plunge into this dark tunnel. Blackjack summons these wild worms of Half-World, So they're almost like the worms of Arrakis, the sandworms. This is so weird. They have these like saddles built onto them, but they're not really saddles. They're just part of their bodies. It says the saddles straddle their pleasure centers. The thrill they get from carrying passengers drives them wild. It's really weird. It's like a G-spot or something. Very strange. So the clowns and the apes think that their job is done and that they've killed our heroes. Meanwhile, Jakes and Divine are in contact with each other, and they basically make a pact. They're not sure Rocket Raccoon's dead, and until they have a body, they're going to team up and unite against the main enemy, Rocket Raccoon. And they talk about their biggest fear is that if Rocket Raccoon marries Lila, he promises to just give all the toys away for free to the loonies. He doesn't want money. He just likes making them happy. And of course, it's just heresy to them. They're both very greedy. So basically, they make it to the robotic side of Half-World, and through this tunnel. And Blackjack takes them to this cantina where every toy sold on Half-World is negotiated there. This is a great scene. Look at this, all these great animals and robots interacting. This is some fun stuff. And who should they see in the corner? It's Lord Pico, or not Lord Pico, whatever his name is. Oh, I guess it is Lord Pico. And Rocket Raccoon comes up to him all mad, and he's like, listen, I didn't really steal the Half-World Bible. I just borrowed it because I wanted to translate it, and I succeeded. Of course, Rocket Raccoon's pretty a little ticked off because he spent years trying to translate it, and he couldn't make any headway. And so now we find the origin of Half-World. So I guess a long time ago, Earth, whoever was in charge of Earth, just said, enough of these crazy people. Let's just get rid of them and throw them on a planet somewhere. And they did. They found Half-World. And so the shrinks, as they're known, they're like the elders. They were like the sane people who were there to take care of them. And, you know, they built all the buildings and facilities. And the whole time they were trying to cure the loonies to no avail. At some point, Earth ordered them all to come home. So they built the Galatian Wall to protect the loonies from anyone intruding. And they figured with the robots they brought along to take care of the loonies and the animals that are there for companionship, they should be just fine. So they weren't too worried. Pretty soon, though, there was some kind of nova flare, and the robots attained artificial intelligence. They were still very devoted to their human charges, but they started to just get annoyed by them. I mean, you know, robots are very logical, and these fucking idiots are running around giggling and laughing all the time and being stupid. So they just got sick of them. So they decided to move to the other side of the planet, but they didn't want to leave the loonies in the lurch. So before they left, they genetically modified all the animals so they'd become sentient and evolved. They even gave them like robotic appendages and prosthetics so they could do whatever they needed to do. Look at this, it's Sam and Max, freelance police, make a little cameo there. And then the robots retreated to their side, the industrial side of the world, and ever since they've been working on that giant humanoid starship. So, of course, this blows Rocket's mind. He's just like, we used to just be pets? It's like, yeah, apparently. I don't know if you guys ever read Philip K. Dick's Clans of the Alphane Moon. It's not a similar concept necessarily, kind of similar. It very much reminds me of that. It's one of his early books. To be honest, it's not that well written. It's not that great, but it's got a really neat concept. And, I mean, all Philip K. Dick's worth reading just for the ideas Even his early stuff is pretty fascinating. So I guess while these guys are having this conversation, Blackjack skulked off, and he comes back with all these other mercenaries. He calls them his awful eight. And he basically says, give me Lila. And a big fight breaks out. A barroom brawl. It's pretty fun shit. Just all these animals going crazy. I like this scene. Blackjack dives for Lila, puts a knife to her throat, and holds her as a hostage. And she just elbows him right in the neck and slugs him and knocks him out. She's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is a Mando paper. That was that short-lived paper. It was a step above newsprint. It was a little whiter. But, it wasn't nearly as white as Baxter paper. I kind of like it, though. It's a happy medium between the two, because I kind of always love newsprint. I always will, even though I know it doesn't hold the colors and inks as well. But Mando kind of is in between. So, everyone's fighting. It's a pretty fun fight scene. God, I love this panel. You can see Mignola in there. Real Mignola. And our heroes escape with Blackjack on their tail. All the other awful eight, I guess, were disposed of. He yells into the night sky. Ah! And they see that starship in the distance, and they see the toy manufacturing going on. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the robots basically make all the toys. And I guess somehow Jakes and Divine get to be the middlemen and make all the money. I don't know why the robots just don't give it to the loonies either. So they, Lord Tycho leads them to the head robot. This guy right here. I kind of like this design. He's basically like the head honcho of all the, the robot intelligence. He's the CPU. So Pico tells them that the Half-World Bible isn't just a historical account of the founding of Half-World. It also contains a detailed psychiatric study of the forms of insanity manifested by the loonies. And so Pico figures, I'll give this to this head robot and basically program him to build a new therapeutic toy that'll cure the loonies of their insanity. And so he basically just throws it in the maw of this head robot. Instead of scanning it or whatever, he just chomps on it. And immediately, the robots say, all units prepare for reprogramming. And pretty quickly, spits out these new therapeutic toys that look like these weird helmets. And this is the answer. Oh man, I'm getting sweat all over these comics. It's really hot here. So number 4, the final issue. Not my favorite cover of the 4. My least favorite. And the Age of Enlightenment. So Rocket Raccoon and friends are just traveling around Half-World, giving these helmets out to all the loonies. They kind of set it up like a traveling medicine show. A little entertainment for the loonies. Rocket Raccoon tries on one of the helmets to demonstrate, and even though he's not crazy, it does make him realize how much he loves Lila. Maybe almost as much as I do. And he jumps off the wagon and kisses her really forcefully here and says, I love you. So they throw all the helmets out to the loonies, and the loonies start playing with them. I guess there's like finger holes right here in the sides. And you can basically cure yourself. Adjust your own brain, basically. So that whole origin story of Half-World that they told us We got to hear the whole thing again. Look how wordy these panels are. It's like, guys, it was just last issue. I really doubt anyone forgot the big reveal of this planet. So the medicine show takes off. The loonies wave goodbye, but one of them doesn't because it's a killer clown in disguise. He's a spy robot. I love this, how he views them through these telescopic eyes, and then he listens to them. His ear grows huge here. Then he hits himself on the back of the head, which makes his smile jump off his face with a little rocket on it to deliver the message to his lord and master. So now we see Mayhem Mechanics, and Jensen Jakes is issuing orders to his killer clowns. And that clown's mouth comes in and tells him what's going on. How pretty soon the loonies won't need toys anymore because they won't be insane. So then Divine shows up, pays him a friendly visit, fills him in. Jakes fills him in on what's going on, and they're like, "Oh fuck, this is the worst thing ever." But maybe we can just destroy them all after we kill Raccoon. We'll go around and we'll destroy all those therapeutic helmets. And then they unleash both of their armadas to attack Raccoon. So basically all the loonies have gotten these helmets by now. And it works. They're all sitting there contemplating and thinking calmly. It looks like they're not crazy anymore. But right then, the bad guys show up. We see another Dracula. And now we get an epic battle. I like how the clowns are floating down with these little umbrellas. The apes drop a banana bomb on the wagon. It rolls off the road. Man, this art's even getting better, I think. Look at that. It's great stuff. So it's this huge melee. And that newfound love that Rocket feels for Lila after putting on the helmet. He is just like, there's no way I can leave you. And he just totally jumps into the fray like a maniac. He's killing killer clowns. I like that panel too. And then Blackjack shows up and he's on Rocket's side. Doesn't really make sense. He says there wouldn't really be much future for a merciless mercenary if I let Jakes and Divine skin you. I was like, why not? They'd keep hiring you to do nasty business. I forgot to mention, I think I skipped this. This was this thing I wanted to show you guys just how bad this writing is. Like, Bill Mantlo forgot things that he set up last issue. After all the humans are cured, Uncle Pico, as if it's like this huge revelation, he says, by Godfrey, that's what they're doing. The Wonder Toys. They're therapeutic devices attuned to the loonies' deranged minds, and they're curing themselves. Last issue, he programmed the head robot to make these with that exact intention in mind. And now he's acting like he's all surprised by it. It's so bad. I mean, I read it twice, and yeah, last issue, he totally tells the head robot. He says, yeah, this is they'll make these Wonder Toys that'll fix the humans. Now he's acting all surprised by it. It's so frustrating. There's a couple of things in this comic where he does that. He forgets things that he set up 2 issues ago. Another weird thing about this last issue, other people start rhyming now. Rocket Raccoon rhymes in some of these pages. Other characters rhyme for no good reason. So weird. They didn't rhyme at all. The only people that rhymed were the killer clowns. And now, I guess he forgot. He's making everyone rhyme. And then all of a sudden the robots show up in their starship. And the loonies, who are now not loony anymore, the humans are all cured. And the robots enter the battle, and the tide of battle turns. And Divine and Jakes try to get away on their Dracula. And they're arguing so much that the Dracula says, my sensitive ears can't take any more of this arguing. And he throws them off their back. And they land right in the toy junk heap. The heap of discarded toys. And everything's wrapped up. We have a happy ending. The lunatics thank the animals for helping them. And Rocket Raccoon and a lot of the animals decide to join the robots in their starship and discover the universe. They figure the humans don't need us anymore. They're all fine. So we can finally go. And we see this starship heading towards other adventures. And we bid farewell to Rocket Raccoon and our heroes. And he says, it's time for us to light out for other worlds in need of aid from adventurers like us. And the narrator says, and whether they shall find them, only you in the future can say. So I guess us, the reader, did not reply well enough. And so there was no more Rocket Raccoon for quite a long time. But these are really fun comics, and I wish there was more. I also wish I discovered these when I was like 10. I mean, this would have been wicked fun, cool shit when you're like 10 or 12. I mean, I discovered them when I was 17 and I liked them. But I bet I would have liked them a lot more. It's a really fun kids comic. And maybe I would have even liked more of the corny jokes and stuff. And I probably would have needed all the repetition because I was a dumb kid. So it would have been actually useful instead of annoying. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed looking at Rocket Raccoon number 1 through 4. And I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.